What makes a big ocean animal a sea monster? Is it the razor-sharp teeth, the long poisonous tentacles, or the ability to move at lightning speed? Or maybe it's simply the giant size of the beasts lurking in the deep blue, hunting for their next meal. From massive crocodiles to extra-long worms, here are the 15 biggest sea monsters ever. Number 15. The Megalodon. The first on our list is a real superstar. Not only is the Megalodon, or Meg, the biggest shark in the world, but it's also one of the largest fish to have ever existed. Estimates suggest it grew to between 40 to 60 feet in length, 3 times longer than the largest recorded great white shark. The earliest Megalodon fossils date back to 20 million years ago. For the next 13 million years, this enormous shark dominated the ocean. Without a complete Megalodon skeleton, though, these figures are based on the size of the animal's humongous teeth, which can reach a whopping 7 inches long. In fact, the word Megalodon simply means large tooth. With its large, serrated teeth, the Meg was definitely a carnivore, chowing down on whales and large fish and probably other sharks. When you're that big, you need to eat a lot of food. This enormous shark had a giant mouth, too. It's estimated that its jaw would span up to 10 feet wide, easily big enough to swallow 2 adult people side by side. Crunch. This incredible beast is also Hollywood's box office gold. The 2018 science fiction film The Meg grossed over $500 million worldwide. And yes, a sequel is definitely in the works. Number 14. The Ichthyosaur. In 2016, amateur fossil hunter Paul de la Salle was walking the beach in Somerset in the southwest of England when he found a large fossil. Greek for fish lizard. He believed it belonged to an ichthyosaur, a dolphin-shaped carnivorous marine reptile with a long, toothy snout that lived in the oceans during the age of the dinosaurs. He continued to search the area, discovering more pieces of the fossil which, when fit together, make up a 3.2-foot section of jawbone. The bones were dated to 205 million years ago and estimated that in life the ichthyosaur would have been up to 85 feet long. Ichthyosaurs appeared during the start of the Triassic, some 250 million years ago, and at their height, they filled many niches from ambush predator to suction feeder, one of the most successful animals in the ocean. But about 90 million years ago, almost 25 million years before the dinosaurs disappeared, the massive fish lizard died out. Researchers are still trying to understand what drove these sea reptiles to extinction. Number 13. The bootlace worm. Scuba divers have become accustomed to tales of monster sea worms, but an example discovered recently off Western Australia seems to have changed the game for such sightings, with an estimated length greater than any other known animal at around 45 meters. A worm bigger than an animal? Yeah, it's true. The gelatinous bootlace worm, which in a nutshell is a string of free-swimming hydrozoans, each with the ability to clone itself, was discovered during a month-long expedition. The bootlace worm was also known as ribbon worms or proboscis worms and usually around 15 to 50 feet in length, but can be up to 180 feet long. And when this super long worm is irritated, it releases large amounts of thick mucus that's poisonous and can paralyze and kill crustaceans and other small sea creatures, but is not so dangerous for mammals. Today, similar neurotoxins that have been extracted from snakes, spiders, and cone shells are used in pharmaceuticals, pharmacological tools, and biotechnology, and as agricultural insecticides. And it's totally possible that the toxins from the bootlace worm can also be used in similar ways. Yay, science! Number 12. The Chronosaurus. Pliosaurs, aka the Chronosaurus, were a fearsome family of marine reptiles characterized by their massive heads, short necks, and relatively broad flippers, as opposed to their close cousins the plesiosaurs, which had smaller heads, longer necks, and more streamlined torsos. Measuring 33 feet from snout to tail and weighing in the neighborhood of 7 to 10 tons, Chronosaurus were on the upper end of the pliosaur size scale. Originally discovered near Queensland, Australia in the 1920s, there have since been several Chronosaur fossils found in the rocks of the Great Artesian Basin, some almost 200 million years old. The Chronosaurus jaws contained rows of large, conical teeth, the biggest of which were over 10 inches long, making it a fierce predator. Remains of its stomach contents indicated it fed on turtles and other smaller marine reptiles. The giant teeth of the Chronosaurus enabled it to crush the shells of the huge shellfish that lived in the same sea, and its sheer size meant that it could have eaten just about anything it wanted. Because of these terrifying qualities, it was named by Queensland paleontologist Heber Longman after the god Kronos, a mythical Greek god so horrible, the story goes, he ate his own children. Now it's time for today's topic. Fishermen along the banks of the St. Lucia River thought it was a capsized boat lodged in the mud, until it moved. What lay stranded at the estuary mouth was a crocodile so enormous that even veteran rangers struggled to estimate its length. Locals claim it stretched well beyond 25 feet, its scarred back rising like armor from another era. Residents from nearby St. Lucia gathered at a distance, whispering that storms offshore may have driven a deep-water predator inland. Wildlife officials cordoned off the shoreline, warning villagers to stay away as the reptile thrashed violently in the shallows before retreating into darker channels. For days afterward, fishermen refused to launch their boats, convinced something ancient had followed the tides back home. Number 11. Giant manta rays. The giant manta ray is the largest ray and one of the largest fishes in the world, reaching widths of up to 29 feet and weighing over 5,000 pounds. The manta rays are much larger than any other ray species. For many decades, there was only one known species of manta, but scientists recently divided that species into two: the giant manta ray, which is a more oceanic species, and the reef manta ray, which is more coastal in nature. Similar to the largest fishes, whale shark and basking shark, and the largest mammals, blue whale, they also eat tiny plankton. They constantly swim along with their large mouths open, drinking in plankton and other small food. To aid in this strategy, giant mantas have specialized flaps known as cephalic lobes which help direct more water and food into their mouths. And these giant manta rays are found worldwide in tropical, subtropical, and temperate waters and are commonly seen offshore in oceanic waters and near productive coastlines. Giant mantas are known to undergo long migrations and may visit colder waters for short periods of the year and can dive over 3,000 feet. Did you know giant manta rays have the biggest brains of any fish studied so far? They use their brain power to learn about their environment, exercise their memory, distinguish between objects, and even recognize themselves in the mirror. But can they take a selfie? Number 10. Ancient amphibious whale. The whales we know today look nothing like they did millions of years ago. Instead, today's whales and dolphins evolved 50 million years ago from small four-legged animals with hooves. Crazy, right? Rather than being one of the largest creatures on Earth as they are now, they came from creatures that were the size of an average dog. Scientists had known that the whale's body shape had changed over the years, making the creatures better adapted to life in the water. However, they didn't know how the creature had moved from South Asia to South America. Early whale ancestors were not fully aerodynamic like whales are today. The particularly interesting missing link discovered in India suggests that the last whale ancestors took to the waters in times of danger but came onto land to give birth and eat. They had long toes that were mostly webbed, meaning they moved a lot like today's otters, and that's probably how they crossed the Atlantic Ocean, researchers guessed. Today, a giant otter-type whale still existed would have to swim a long way to migrate, but at that time in the Earth's history, the distance between Africa and South America was 2 times shorter and the currents were strong. Number 9. Lion's mane jellyfish. The lion's mane jellyfish cannot be missed in the open ocean, with tentacles up to 120 feet long, even rivaling in size the blue whale, the largest animal in the world. And most lion's mane jellyfish can be found in the Arctic and North Pacific Ocean from Alaska to Washington, where the waters are cool. Its lion's mane of long, hair-like tentacles hanging from the underside of its bell-shaped body is the inspiration behind the name, of course. This unusual creature's mouth is situated on the bell's underside, surrounded by tentacles that are divided into 8 clusters of up to 150 tentacles each. These tentacles are equipped with deadly poison and with a powerful sting. The lion's mane jellyfish feasts on small fish, tiny crustaceans, and even other jellyfish to satisfy its appetite. And they never stop swimming. Lion's mane jellyfish are continual swimmers and can cover huge distances, but most prefer to swim solo, although large swarms of jellyfish occasionally happen when storms and tides are active. And they can glow. The lion's mane jellyfish also possesses bioluminescent abilities, meaning it's able to produce its own light and glow in the dark underwater. Shine on, jellyfish, shine on. Number 8. Ocean sunfish. The ocean sunfish is a very large, oddly sun-shaped fish that gets its name from its habit of floating on its side, warming itself at the sea surface, enjoying the hot rays of the sun. It is the heaviest bony fish in the world, reaching weights over 5,000 pounds, and the distance from the top of the dorsal fin to the bottom can be as much as 14 feet. Ocean sunfish are foraging predators that will eat a variety of food, but their preferred prey are jellyfish, which are almost exclusively made up of water and are low in calories and nutrients. So a fish with a body as large as adults are too large to be threatened by anything but the absolute largest predators in the ocean. But the smaller sunfish are a favorite meal of sea lions, killer whales, and large sharks. But of course, there's always one sea creature with an unusual sense of humor. California sea lions are known to bite the fins off a small ocean sunfish and then play with them like they're frisbees. Really, guys? Really? Number 7. The Elasmosaurus. Ever heard about the monster that lives in Loch Ness, a freshwater lake in Scotland, a monster with the very cute nickname Nessie? Well, some say that monster is the Elasmosaurus. At close to 50 feet long, this long-necked reptile was one of the biggest plesiosaurs to ever exist, and its neck is about half the length of its entire body and supported by a whopping 71 vertebrae. Your typical plesiosaur had 60 vertebrae. They weren't equipped with gills, though, like fish and sharks, and couldn't live below water 24 hours a day, but it's possible that a single gulp of air could fuel this marine reptile for 10 to 20 minutes. With 4 powerful paddle-like flippers, Elasmosaurus would have moved through ancient seas with a surprisingly graceful, almost bird-like rhythm. Its long neck likely acted like a stealthy spear, allowing it to dart its small head into schools of fish without disturbing the water too much. Unlike the terrifying sea monsters of legend, its teeth were better suited for gripping slippery prey than tearing apart large animals. Paleontologists believe it hunted in open water, far from shorelines, gliding silently through the vast inland sea that once split North America in two. Imagining such a creature rising from the mist of a Scottish loch is thrilling, but science reminds us that these reptiles vanished with the dinosaurs millions of years ago. In the 1800s, shortly after the end of the Civil War, a military doctor in western Kansas discovered a fossil of the giant reptile. And if you're wondering how a giant marine reptile ended up in landlocked Kansas, remember the American West was covered by a shallow body of water, the Western Interior Sea, during the late Cretaceous period over 65 million years ago. So how did the Elasmosaurus end up in Scotland? Judging by possible hoax photographs, you could say that the Loch Ness Monster looks a lot like the Elasmosaurus. Some believers insist that a population of these epic reptiles has managed to survive in the northern reaches of Scotland. Who can say for real? We know now, because of the Elasmosaurus' extra-long neck, that this marine reptile was incapable of holding its neck out of the water, making it pretty tough to snap a great photo. Number 6. The Greenland shark. Greenland sharks are now the longest living vertebrates known on Earth, scientists say. Researchers determined the ages of 28 of the animals and estimated that one female was about 400 years old. Now that's old. Native to the North Atlantic and Arctic waters around Greenland, Canada, and Iceland, while shark diversity is low in this region, species that live there can grow to enormous sizes. And Greenland sharks can too, reaching over 22 feet in length and can weigh over a ton easily. This makes them the second largest carnivorous shark after the white shark. What makes their longevity even more astonishing is that some of these sharks alive today may have been swimming the oceans during the time of Shakespeare. Scientists estimate that they do not even reach sexual maturity until they are around 150 years old, meaning their life strategy is built entirely around patience and survival. Their bodies grow at an incredibly slow rate, less than a centimeter per year, which contributes to their extreme lifespan in the freezing depths. Many Greenland sharks are partially blind due to parasites that attach to their eyes, yet they continue to survive using their other keen senses. In the silent, dark Arctic waters, these ancient giants move like drifting relics from another era, witnesses to centuries of human history unfolding above them. While known to be scavengers, they're also opportunistic predators and will ambush prey to conserve energy. They tend to take a craftier approach, sneaking up on prey while they sleep. And there have also been reports of Greenland sharks attacking caribou as they drink from the banks of the river. An entire reindeer, including the antlers, was discovered in the stomach contents of one individual, while the remains of a polar bear have been found in others. Healthy appetites indeed, but Greenland sharks are slow. When you live in icy cold waters, conserving energy is vital to the shark's survival. Cruising at around 1 foot per second, Greenland sharks are the slowest sharks in the world. Interesting fact, because of their long life, Greenland sharks may still be recovering from being overfished before World War II. The shark's livers were once used for machine oil, but not anymore. A synthetic alternative was found, and the Greenland shark was free to swim around unharmed, just very, very slowly. Number 5. Giant oarfish. The giant oarfish, which have been known to reach up to a whopping 110 feet long and weigh 600 pounds, is considered a deep-sea fish. However, occasionally the slender beast is found washed ashore dead on beaches. Let's take a look at the monstrous fish, the king of herrings, in all its glory. Oarfish are typically found at depths of about 656 feet, but can lurk as deep as about 3,280 feet, according to the Florida Museum of Natural History, in the deep seas of the eastern Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea. The origin of the oarfish name is unknown, but because of its long, thin shape, the oarfish is sometimes known as a ribbon fish. Its body shimmers like polished metal, reflecting light in a way that gives it an almost mythical aura when seen near the surface. Running along its back is a vivid red dorsal fin that ripples continuously from head to tail, creating the illusion that the fish is gliding through the water like a living ribbon. Unlike most fish, the oarfish swims vertically at times, with its head pointed upward, a posture that has puzzled scientists for decades. Divers who have encountered one describe the experience as surreal, as if staring at a creature from another era of the ocean's history. Because they inhabit such extreme depths, much of their behavior remains a mystery, and live sightings are incredibly rare. When storms churn the ocean and disrupt deep-water currents, these elusive giants are sometimes forced into shallower waters, leading to dramatic and widely reported beach strandings. Each time one appears on shore, it sparks renewed fascination and speculation about what other colossal beings might be hiding in the abyss. Even though it's a deep-water species, it's not too uncommon to see an oarfish. These long, silver creatures have been known to wash ashore on beaches after storms. They also have a habit of floating near the surface of the water when they're sick or dying. Because of this, it's believed that the oarfish may be responsible for many of the legendary sightings of sea monsters and sea serpents by ancient mariners and beachgoers. But the oarfish is thriving and not considered to be an endangered species. Number 4. Japanese spider crab. The Japanese spider crab is a large and strange catch for any fisherman. With a leg span of 13 feet and an average weight of around 40 pounds, it wins the title of largest crab. It's important to note that this creature really is mostly legs, with its body only reaching about 1.5 feet across in size. But that's what makes their appearance so terrifying. When you're the biggest crab in the sea and you only have a few predators out there to worry about, what do you decide to eat? Well, the answer is pretty much anything smaller than you. They're not exactly hunters, but these crabs have been known to eat algae, kelp, mollusks, slow-moving invertebrates, and the dead bodies of any creatures that happen to be floating around. In fact, they seem to prefer to scavenge dead flesh rather than kill things themselves. Dwelling at depths of up to 1,000 feet off the coast of Japan, these crabs inhabit cold, dark waters where few humans ever venture. Their long, spindly legs allow them to move slowly and deliberately across the ocean floor, giving them an almost alien silhouette in the dim light. During mating season, they migrate to shallower waters, which is when fishermen are most likely to encounter them unexpectedly in their nets. Despite their intimidating size, they are generally docile creatures and pose little threat to divers who are lucky enough to see one in the wild. Their massive claws, though not as powerful as their legs are long, are still capable of crushing shells and tearing apart carrion with steady efficiency. Some specimens are believed to live for over 100 years, quietly patrolling the seabed for decades. This extraordinary lifespan means that a single crab may witness dramatic changes in its underwater environment over the course of a century. And to avoid predators like octopus, they're known to be a type of decorator crab and pick up things from their environment like sponges and kelp to attach to their bodies in order to appear like another part of the ocean floor. However, their legs are pretty weak and can break easily. About 3/4 of these crabs that have been caught were missing a limb. But that's just fine for these crabs. They can quite happily survive while missing up to 3 of their limbs as if nothing at all had happened. What's more is that there is evidence that these guys can actually regenerate their legs on their own. So even if one goes missing, they're likely to regrow a fresh one over the next few years. Number 3. The whale shark. Whale sharks are gorgeous, peaceful, slow-moving filter feeders which can grow up to 40 feet in length and weigh 20 tons, with a lifespan that's estimated to be 70 to 100 years old. And although whale sharks have about 3,000 tiny teeth less than an inch long, they don't use them much. The biggest fish in the sea is a slow-moving, docile giant, feeding by filtering plankton, plus squid, krill, and small fish into their huge mouths. Sometimes a whale shark will lazily swim with its mouth wide open, a low-energy feeding technique that allows the gentle giant to swallow any food items that might be in its path. But when it sees a dense cluster of delicious little morsels, the animal creates suction by quickly opening and closing its jaws, pulling dinner into its cavernous mouth. Despite their immense size, whale sharks pose virtually no threat to humans and are often seen swimming calmly alongside divers, creating once-in-a-lifetime encounters. Their distinctive checkerboard pattern of white spots and stripes is unique to each individual, almost like a fingerprint that researchers use to track them across oceans. Scientists have discovered that these gentle giants often dive to depths of nearly 6,000 feet, enduring cold, high-pressure environments before returning to warm surface waters. Satellite tagging has revealed complex migratory routes that span entire ocean basins, suggesting they follow seasonal blooms of plankton with remarkable precision. In some regions, ecotourism centered around whale sharks has become a major source of income, but it also raises concerns about boat strikes and human disturbance. Conservationists stress that protecting their feeding grounds and migratory corridors is critical if future generations are to witness these living leviathans in the wild. Generally, whale sharks, which are tropical and subtropical fish, will move around a lot. In 3 years, a single whale shark can travel 8,000 miles or more. Huge schools of whale sharks visit exotic locations like the Galapagos Islands and the Yucatan Peninsula every summer to gorge on plankton. Still, their total life expectancy is unknown, but according to experts, this big fish probably die in their 60s. Others speculate that whale sharks can live to be 100 or even 150 years old. And while it's not known what the global whale shark population is, the species is considered endangered. And in 2009, experts discovered what's believed to be the smallest living whale shark, only 15 inches long. The baby whale shark was found on a beach in the Philippines. Oh, that's adorable. Number 2. Deep-sea crocodiles. At over 30 feet long and weighing in at 3 tons, these deadly prehistoric crocodiles evolved from their land-living ancestors to become fast-swimming predators of the deep blue sea. They adapted their limbs into flippers, streamlined their bodies, and formed fluke tails to help them move more powerfully through the water. Fossil evidence shows that this transformation did not happen overnight, but rather through a series of gradual anatomical shifts spanning millions of years. Early transitional forms likely hunted along coastlines, slipping between rivers and shallow seas as they experimented with a new aquatic lifestyle. Over time, their bones became denser and their bodies more hydrodynamic, reducing drag and increasing speed beneath the waves. Their nostrils migrated higher on the skull, allowing them to breathe while keeping most of their bodies submerged, much like modern marine predators. The powerful musculature along their tails would have generated immense thrust, enabling sudden bursts of acceleration when ambushing prey. Some paleontologists believe these crocodiles may have targeted large fish, squid, and even other marine reptiles that shared their Jurassic waters. Their teeth evolved into conical, interlocking weapons perfectly designed for gripping slippery victims in turbulent seas. By the height of their dominance, these oceanic crocodiles had become apex predators, ruling ecosystems far removed from the swamps their ancestors once inhabited. The deep-sea crocodiles made their first steps into the water during a long semi-aquatic phase. Their ear canals became markedly fatter and smaller, and over time mimicked the shape and senses of whales and dolphins to dominate Jurassic seas. New research was found. Experts from the University of Edinburgh found that they adapted a part of the inner ear responsible for balance and equilibrium, and they gradually adjusted to their new ocean home 170 million years ago. Number 1. Magnapina squid. Magnapina squids are one of the deep sea's more ethereal, unusual creatures. Little is known of these squids, as very few have ever been captured. Although over the last decade, with the increased usage of remotely operated vehicles, more and more video is emerging of these strange animals. Their fins are up to 90% of the length of their body, and they have ridiculously long arms. And as you can see, the squid often will hold some of their arms at a 90-degree angle from the side of their body, which gives them the appearance of having elbows. When footage of these squids first surfaced, many viewers were convinced they were looking at computer-generated imagery rather than a real marine animal. The way their arms trail downward into the darkness makes them resemble living marionettes suspended in an invisible current. Some encounters show them hovering motionless for minutes at a time, as if patiently observing the strange machines that have invaded their world. Because they inhabit depths often exceeding 13,000 feet, every sighting feels like a rare glimpse into an alien ecosystem. Scientists analyzing the videos have noted how slowly and deliberately they move, conserving energy in an environment where food is scarce. In certain recordings, the tentacles appear to ripple gently with passing currents, creating an almost ghost-like silhouette against the black water. The extreme length of their appendages suggests a feeding strategy that relies more on passive contact than active pursuit. Each new recording raises as many questions as it answers, deepening the mystery surrounding these extraordinary cephalopods. The Magnapina squid, sometimes referred to as the big fin or long arm squid, is around 26 feet in length with thin, elastic tentacles thought to be between 15 to 20 times larger than the squid's body. Yikes, that's a lot. Very little is known about the feeding behavior of these squid, although scientists believe that they feed by dragging their arms and tentacles along the seafloor, grabbing organisms off the floor. But they may use a simple trapping technique, waiting for prey to bump into their super long arms. Magnapina squids were first discovered in 1907, but it wasn't until 1988 that the first footage was filmed off the coast of Brazil. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.